Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I got a ton of feedback requesting more videos where I walk you guys through recreating one of my signature celebrity looks. So I wanted to take this concept and turn it into a monthly series where we walk down memory lane as I share tips and tricks behind attaining these looks. First off, anytime I'm working with Khloe Kardashian, I know that we are going to have fun, go all out, and make some magic. Developing a level of trust with your client allows you the freedom to creatively express yourself, and that's exactly what I did for this Good American shoot. Let me tell you, Khloe can wear a beat, so we went all the way in on this holiday look highlighted with glitter, diamonds, and a surgically cut crease. I went ahead and prepped Dakota's skin off camera because I really wanted to focus on taking you guys through a step-by-step detailed process of the eyeshadow and also the foundation and just overall skin routine. However, we did the skin prep off camera just to save some time, and if you guys are interested in seeing that, comment down below and I can save it for another Khloe Kardashian makeup tutorial. But we did do a tinted moisturizer, a face oil. The only thing we haven't done for skin prep is lip prep. So the first product I'm going to be using for her lips is my Sugar Mint Rush lip balm from Fresh. For sanitary purposes, I've just scooped some out and I'm applying it with a lip brush. And I really love doing this step first before eyeshadow, before foundation. So that way by the time you get to the lips, it's nice and prepped and your lip products just glide on. To base the eyes, I'm gonna be using my P. Louise Mama Mitchell Acid Rain blank canvas for eye prep. And I do have a code for this, which I will link right here on the screen and down below in the description. Just starting off with a synthetic brush. This one is also by P. Louise. It's nice and flat so I can get around the brow hair easily. Just taking a blending brush just to make sure there's no creasing happening on the eyelid before I put a little translucent powder. For eyeshadow, I'm gonna be using my KKW Beauty Matte Cocoa eyeshadow palette, and we're gonna be using this a lot because we're about to get down and dirty with this eyeshadow look. I'm excited, it's gonna be a full beat today. Starting off with this shade here from the Matte Cocoa palette. I'm also using a brush from Say Me. This is number 2.5. And I'm just following the shape of her crease with this brush. And you don't have to worry about making it perfect because I'm gonna show you how to go back in and cut the crease. Just starting with a little bit of product and just building as I go. And then you can also take another clean brush just to lightly go over this area and make sure that it's nice and seamless. As I get to the outer corner of the eye, I'm just making sure that I'm taking my brush in an up and outward direction to kind of swoop this outward just to make sure that it goes with the shape that I want to create. This look is really all about how you layer and making sure that every time you lay down a product that it's nice and smooth and blended before you go in with the next coat. Just because we are going to be working with some glitters today, also some diamonds on the eyes, you just want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. So next I'm gonna be going in with this dark brown shade here, also this warm brown shade, and I'll probably even mix the darkest shade in the palette. I did use a lot of this palette when I did Khloe's makeup that day. I'm also using a pencil shaped brush just to go in and define the crease even more. I wanna be really specific about my placement. I'm basically just applying this product right underneath the light brown shade, so that way you see a nice blend of both of the tones together. I definitely recommend starting off with a little bit of product and then building your way up to a more of an opaque finish, just because it's a lot easier to fix the eyeshadow look. And now I'm just using the darkest shade in the eyeshadow palette. I'm also starting to bring the crease up a bit higher, just to give the illusion of wider, larger eyes. Mixing these two shades here, the darkest shades in this palette. And you really don't have to worry about making this line perfect. I mean, you can if you want. There's so many ways to do it. When I did Khloe's makeup this day, I remember the makeup had to be done in a certain time, and I just wanted to make sure that I could get the eye makeup on in time. So this was the technique that I went for. And I didn't worry about any fallout or anything like that because I did the foundation after the eyes. To cut the crease, I'm gonna be going back in with my Acid Rain Blank Canvas product by P. Louise. And I'm actually gonna use the same exact brush that I started off with as well. So before I cut her crease, I always like to just kind of like analyze the look, have her look at me in the eyes really romantically, you know? So that way I can see how high I need to bring up her crease. The slower the better, because you want this line to be pretty straight. If it's not perfect, that's okay. I mean, we're gonna be going in with glitter, more eyeshadow. There's plenty of other moments during this eyeshadow tutorial to straighten it up, but if you can get it straight in the beginning, it's best. And it also helps to have a really nice flat brush. Just taking my time, making sure that this is kind of like swooping in an upward, outward direction, just to lift the eyes up. And when I did Khloe's makeup, I made sure there was a little gap right here in between the eyeliner and also the diamonds that we're gonna apply. So just lifting this up in the outer corner, like so. Just really taking my time, making sure that this line is straight, and I'm using this side as a guide and just kind of going back and forth and making sure that they look the same as I'm etching this out. You really want to take your time with it and just make sure that you can get these eyes as even as possible. And I'm still just building it up to get to a good place. Next, I'm going to be taking my Dior eyeshadow palette. This one's called Black Bow. And I'm going to go in with the darkest shade from this palette, the black shade. And I'm using a MAC 263 brush. And I basically just want to have her close her eyes, and I'm just going to follow this line right here just to make it even deeper and more rich. So just going really slowly, following this line. I already have a great guide going, so I'm just going to go right on top of it and deepen it up even more. And even if you didn't get your crease perfect, I have another tip for you guys. Whenever we do the eyelid shade, we can go in really precisely. You can even take your angled brush and blend in an upward direction just to fade it up. Just using my brush in a backwards direction. You basically want to use it any way that feels right for you. And as I get towards the inner part, I'm going to flip the brush. Now going in with the silver shade from this palette, I'm going to apply it wet with a damp brush using a little bit of a setting spray. To be honest, any setting spray will work for this. I used a little bit of my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Mist, and that way you can just apply it really smooth, and it almost applies more like a paint, and it really sticks onto the skin well, and you'll just get maximum coverage and color payoff this way. And if you weren't able to cut the crease and make it smooth, this is a great time to go in and give it another chance. You just want to use a really flat brush. This is actually a brush that I'm working on. You guys have heard me talk about this so much. Stay tuned for that. More to come this year. This is just another flat synthetic haired brush. Just want to make sure that it's nice and flat and sharp. Just getting the brush wet as I go to make sure that I can apply this nice and smooth. You definitely don't want the eyeshadow to dry up on you. It just won't be as pigmented and as rich. Sometimes I like to take the brush and just get it nice and flat and press it against my hand before I press it against her eye, so that way the bristles lay nice and smooth. Okay, so now for our 1/1,000,000th layer of eyeshadow, I'm gonna go in with some glitter this time. So these are by Lemonhead. I'm using Silver Lake and Lady Mercury. These are amazing because it's a gel base and it just dries down and doesn't move. It's basically glitter that doesn't make a mess. So I just scoop some out, put it on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna mix these up and apply on her eyes. So just starting off in the center of her eyes, there's no secret to this. You just kind of wanna go in and apply the glitter and make sure that you just keep it within this area that we've cut the crease. When I created this look for Khloe, I wanted the eyes to be really opaque where you see the glitter. You can just go in and do the glitter alone, but I feel like it just wouldn't give you that richness of this look. So that's why the silver really comes into play, because it'll be peeking through. I'm just gonna have Dakota keep her eyes closed for a little bit so that way it can dry. You definitely don't wanna open your eyes during this process if you're doing this on a client, because we just don't want it to get on the crease. I'd say a combination of patting and lightly sweeping with the synthetic brush works the best. For foundation, I'm gonna be using my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk in the shade 7.5. And I'm just gonna start off by applying this with a beauty blender. And I'm gonna stipple this into the skin just for a little bit more coverage from this product. I feel like this is a quick way to apply foundation too, especially if you took all that time on eyes and you need to speed it up on the skin. Sometimes I do this on my clients. I feel like when I'm doing Khloe's makeup, we're usually going for like a natural matte kind of look with the skin, just because she's usually filming and doing a million things in one day. And I'm able to get that effect with this foundation. This foundation is a bit more on the hydrating, dewy side, but it's really all about how you set it. So for contour, I'm gonna be using my William Tuttle foundation, and these two are called Toasted Honey and Chinese 2. I'm gonna start off with Chinese 2 first, and then use a little bit of Toasted Honey just to add more depth. Just doing a little shading right underneath the jawline just to add more definition. And this is the shade Chinese 2. And then bringing it in a downward direction. You always wanna make sure that your jawline contour is nice and blended. So you might wanna blend in an upward direction right above the jaw and also downward as well. And then just shading a little bit of her forehead, bringing some warmth back into the skin. And you can also go in and stipple the brush just for more coverage in some areas, and then sweep back and forth just to shear it out a little bit. And I really think it's so important to customize each look that you do for your own skin or for the client that you're working with. I honestly can't stress that enough. I definitely do different techniques and I use different products on all of my clients. Just going in with Toasted Honey just to add slightly more definition. For nose contour, I'm just taking a really small synthetic brush and I'm just going to create 2 lines down the sides of the nose, keeping it really close to the bridge of the nose. So that way it just creates more of an optical illusion to snatch that nose even more. And then using a really small beauty blender, this is more of like the medium-sized beauty blender. Just gonna go in and blend it in a downward direction. For concealer, I'm gonna be mixing these 2 shades by KKW Beauty in shade 7 and 8. One has more of a pinkier undertone and the other one has more of a golden tone. So I think a combination of the both will be really beautiful on her skin. And that's also what I do on Coco. Just taking the shade 7 and bringing it right down the bridge of the nose just to highlight. And I'll let this sit for just a second. That way it kind of oxidizes and it creates such a beautiful highlight. I'm also gonna bring it right above the middle of the eyebrows just to highlight, right below the lips, on the sides of the mouth, and the sides of the nose. Just to bring a little bit more light to the skin. And then I'm taking my Marc Jacobs, the Conceal brush, and I'm just kind of pushing this into the skin. Once we apply concealer to the center of the face, you'll really start to see that contour just stand out even more. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over the bridge of the nose and start blending this out. Now I'm mixing the shades 7 and 8 right underneath her eyes. And you really just wanna stipple this into the skin just to build it up. I like to do the majority of the work with a brush, and then I'll go in with a regular size beauty blender and just kind of push that into the skin. And it really just like melted on top of the contour. Just tapping right underneath the eye area just to build this up. And a little goes a long way with this product. I feel like it gives you medium to full coverage. And it still keeps the under eye area pretty hydrated. To set the under eye area, I'm gonna be going in with my Huda Beauty loose powder in the shade Cupcake. Kind of has like a light pinky undertone to it. Just taking a very small pink powder puff and I'm going right underneath the lower lashes just to lock in the under eye. I feel like when I do this technique, it really ensures that the makeup is not going anywhere. It's gonna stay put all day. So it really just depends on like what you have going on for the day. It just kind of gives me that extra reassurance that the makeup is gonna stay put. Just starting right underneath the eye area first, and then I like to use what's left over on the rest of the face. I'm just gonna do a little bit of baking right underneath her eyes. And then that way when I go to smoke out the lower lash line, it'll catch it and we won't have any fallout. And it also keeps the under eye area looking really bright and beautiful. So I went ahead and actually dusted off the baking. I just didn't want to keep it on for so long. I feel like it's really important to know your skin and know how long you can keep baking on because it can dry the under eyes. So I just wanted to make sure that I left that on for just a moment. Now I'm going to be going in with my KKW Beauty Contour Single in the shade 5. This is such a beautiful warm tone that I'm going to be using just to sculpt a little bit more and to lock in that cream contour. The brush that I'm using is by Say Me. It's number 2.1. And you just want to go in and stipple this product in. So that way you're not like sliding the cream contour off of the skin. Just keeps everything kind of locked in. You want to make sure that you get it as close to the hairline as possible so there's no line of demarcation. And I'm basically just following the perimeter of her hairline with this product. And the cream contour that we already placed is the perfect guide as to where we need to apply the powder contour. I'm also going to just set the chin, the jawline, just make sure that we are nice and sculpted in these areas as well. And just setting the cream contour on both sides of her cheeks. And I feel like the lighter pressure you have on your brush, the better for this application. To highlight the bridge of her nose, I'm going to be using Reflex Gilt by Tom Ford. Just going to bring this in a very straight line. And then you can always go back in with your finger and just kind of warm it up and make it look even more natural, kind of just pressing it into the skin. For blush, I'm going to be using my KKW Beauty Flower Wall Blush. It's such a beautiful light pink tone, and it just brings a little bit of color back into the face. Sometimes we really build this color up just to make it really rich on the cheeks. And I'm just pushing this in with an angled brush. This is by Say Me, it's 1.5. I usually have my clients just smile just a little bit so we can apply it right on the apples of the cheeks. Now I'm going to be going back in with my KKW Cocoa palette so we can smoke out her under eyes. I'm going to be focusing on these two shades right here. Going in with the brown first and then using the deeper tone. And I need to make sure that I tap this off really well so we don't get any fallout. I'll have you look up for me. I'm also using a small shader brush just to get right underneath her eyes. This is a MAC 228. And I honestly think this brush is getting discontinued, but stay tuned because I'm working on a little something. And I'm just taking my time building this up, getting right underneath those lower lashes. For Dakota's waterline, I'm going to be using my KKW pencil in the shade brown. Just really working this into the waterline. For brows, I'm just gonna lightly go in with my Kelly Baker brow pencil in the shade brown. Dakota has amazing eyebrows, so I really don't need to do much. And your brows honestly remind me of Khloe's too. They're really thick and full. So I usually just go in anywhere that I see a sparse area and just kind of create a stroke of hair in the direction that I want it to lay. So I'm just gonna focus on the inner part of her brow just a little bit. And this is a great shade to use because it's not too dark. It's a lot more forgiving when you're doing your eyebrows. So I'm just making strokes of hair in an upward direction and then brushing as we go. To create this thin wing liner, I'm going to start off by creating a line on both sides of her eyes, angled in an upward-outward direction. And then from there, I'm going to use that as a guide and start creating this line that goes from thick to thin on the upper lash line. You just have to be patient with this process, and sometimes you have to use the brush in different directions just to create more of a straight line. You really have to do what works for you, but this is a technique that I have perfected over the years. It has really worked for me. For lashes, I'm going to be focusing on creating more of a winged out look in the outer corners of her eyes. So I'm going to be using my velour lashes, and this is the style Barely There. I also have a code for these. I believe it's ash20. I'll make sure to link that so you guys can check it out. So I just placed a little bit of glue along these lashes, and this is the House of Lashes adhesive. So just focusing on the outer corner, we'll just let that dry. Open for me. I'm also going to be blending these eyelashes in with my Danessa Myricks in style 10. These are her individual lashes and I love using these on the eyes. I feel like it gives a spikier look that kind of blends in really well with your natural lashes. And I'm actually placing these right next to the strip lash. Just applying this right next to the strip lash, placed on the outer corner of the eye just to blend it all together. And the glue does dry clear, so I'm not going to worry about seeing any of this white adhesive. The moment we've all been waiting for, we are gonna diamond up this look with some Swarovski. So I have my Swarovski. I got these containers from Michaels. I just love keeping them nice and organized. And I'm just gonna be mixing the sizes. I'm gonna be using small to medium to more of a larger size crystal. I'm just gonna go with my House of Lashes glue first. And I like to start off with about 3 dots just to start with because it dries really quick. And I'm gonna be giving this to Dakota for sanitary purposes. And what makes this look so much easier is using something to help pick up the crystals. I got this from Michaels. This is what it looks like. And it just makes it really effortless when applying these babies. I feel like every time I'm working with this product, it's always under pressure and I never have a lot of time. So if you can find a tool that just speeds up the process for you, it just makes it so much smoother. Now I'm going in with a larger size crystal. Notice I'm saying crystal, it's easier for me. Depending on your eye shape, you might wanna keep the larger size crystals towards the lashes. That way when you open your eyes, open for me, they don't fold right in the crease. For lips, I'm gonna be using 2 different lip liners by KKW Beauty in the shade 0.5 and 1.5. I'm gonna use 1.5 first, just to line the lips and contour the outer corners. She seriously has such a perfect lip shape, so I definitely don't need to overdraw. I'm just gonna keep it within her lip line. But you guys know I love to overdraw the lips in the center, so if you feel like you need to with your lip shape, be my guest. I'm all for it. And I'm just shading in the corners just to contour a bit. And then just following her natural shape for her top lip as well. And you always want to check it from different angles. I usually have my client tilt their head back, also tilt their head down a little bit so you can check the Cupid's bow and also the bottom lip as well. It's a really great way to make sure that the lip is perfect. And if you really want your lip to stay on all day, take the 0.5 lip liner from KKW Beauty and just shade the center of the lips. This just really locks in the lip. I feel like it makes it bulletproof. And then just taking a lip brush just to smooth it out. For lipstick, I'm gonna be using the shade Supermodel by KKW Beauty. This is actually a matte shade from the 90s collection, and it is one of our go-tos. Me and Khloe and Kim, we all love this color. And I'm just applying it with the same brush, starting off in the center of the lips, and just working my way to the outer corners of her lips. I usually try to slightly ombre using these 3 shades. My God, she is ready for the grocery store. I hope you guys enjoyed this very simple, natural, everyday look. That does it for this month's Celebrity Recreation series. Every one of these looks was a special moment in my career that I personally chose to share with you. So I hope you all enjoyed this good American moment with one of my favorite clients, Khloe Kardashian. Thank you, Dakota. If you followed along with this application, please make sure to tag me on IG so I can see how you did and repost your work. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and feel free to leave comments about which of my celebrity or red carpet looks you'd like to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Don't fake it till you make it. That's garbage advice. Face it till you make it. Get up, work hard, fail, stand back up, do a little better, fail again, get back up, and just repeat.